Hello, fellow joy lovers, and welcome back to Gimme That Joy. Last week's episode focused on reflecting on how things are going thus far at this midway point in our time with the Sacred Rest Challenge that we've been using as joy practice prompts to deepen our joy journey based on a foundation of multifaceted rest. I hope that you were able to take some time and relax and reflect on how things have been going with your journey into rest and into joy based on rest, and come out with some insights, some revelations, and some steps forward in terms of how you would like to proceed in the second half of our journey into joy. That journey begins now. Our joy practice this week focuses on social rest. Here it is. Use your power to give an intentional no today to any request that crosses your personal self-care boundaries. Prioritize your need to take care of yourself so you can be at your best. Personal self-care. This is an area that it takes time to figure out what actually works best for you. And what works best for you can evolve and change over time as your personality changes, your life seasons change, and your circumstances change. So for me, I used to be quite an extrovert. And over the years, as I've matured and journeyed on, interestingly enough, I've become quite introverted. And so this has evolved for me what personal self-care means. These days, what I focus on most are two things. One, building margin into my life in a sustainable type of schedule. And two, incorporating set apart kind of downtimes or scheduled downtimes that help to rejuvenate me and get me ready to be back in the game again. In terms of margin, I do my best to have a bit of space in between each activity in any given day. If one day happens to be very intense, action-packed and experience-rich, as I like to say, with all these activities, I try to have the next day be a lot more low-key. And so alternating on and off, that way to help me maintain a steady, consistent stream of energy. The second thing I do, as I mentioned, is I try to have scheduled, set-apart downtimes where I just am. I'm not doing anything in particular, not necessarily interacting with anyone. I may go for an afternoon at a massage chair cafe, or I may take a long bath and just bask in the quietness of being home alone. What self-care looks like can also be seasonally dependent. For me, in like the summer, like early summer, or late spring, early autumn, times of the year, I love taking walks with my dog Cielo in nature, just taking in the sights, the sounds, the smells, the whole experience of it all. And that has been quite restful and quite rejuvenating for me in the better weather months. I might just take time where I'm just relaxing in bed, not paying attention to the phone, ringer off, so that I can just be by myself. And sometimes I take that time to really just spend time with God and just enjoy the fact that I'm breathing and alive and able to just do nothing for a stretch of time and just basically be. And so those are the main ways in which I have been working on creating these personal self-care boundaries and expressing these boundaries to others as necessary, so that I'm able to have that downtime to be rested, be rejuvenated, and be able to go forward in a calm and peaceful manner as I go throughout my days. Now, it doesn't always come together as wonderfully as I'd like. And there are days where I do feel a bit pressured. And even on those days, I try to take a few minutes here and there to just breathe, pray, maybe read scripture, and just center myself once more in who I am and in God and in the fact that we're in this thing together. And so that's basically what I do on my end. For you, I hope and I know that you'll be able to find ways that work for you to build in more margin, to build in more activities that are self-care for you, and to enjoy the journey more as you take part in social rest. The Life Catalyst resource that I'd love to recommend is a podcast / YouTube episode by Crystal Evans Hurst. A few months ago, she did an interview with Asharita Choo Choo, and the episode was entitled Rest for the Weary. In that episode, they got into a number of strategies and ways in which weary people can incorporate more rest in how they approach and how we approach life. And so I really enjoyed the episode, and two things that really stood out to me were one, Asharita talked about this prayer system she has called Prayers of Rest. She has a new book actually out called Prayers of Rest. And she came up with, by the grace of God, this lovely acronym for prayer using the word rest. The R is for recite God's goodness. The E is for express your neediness. The S is seek his stillness. And the T is trust his faithfulness. And she goes through and explains how to pray through these 4 parts of the acronym. And my prayer partner and I have actually been implementing this system for a while now since we saw the episode. And it has been quite a lovely experience. Sometimes, we can get so caught up in all of the needs, all of the things that we're asking God to do, especially when we're going through trying times. And it's been really helpful for both my prayer partner and I, because we're both going through rather challenging times right now, to have a system that helps us to focus on God's goodness and to focus on trusting him and resting in him, being still with him in the midst of also expressing our needs and our petitions to him. And so it's been really lovely to engage in this prayer practice that Asharita talks about in the episode. And her book goes through and has actual scripture linked to different prayers for different times, different emotions, different seasons, and different circumstances of life. Just want to take a moment to remind you about our New Year's special. You or a loved one can get a one-on-one free coaching conversation if you just click the link below and sign up and let us know that you're interested in learning more about how I can companion you on your journey into more restful, joyful living. Now, back to the episode. The second thing that was really impactful for me was this idea that Asharita shared, that a friend had shared with her, of taking all the activities in your life and listing them out and then putting them all to the side and then thinking of your life as a shoebox and figuring out which activities belong in the shoebox, which activities you want to put back in the shoebox. And, prayerfully making these decisions and thinking them through so that you have a life that is not so tight, and that things that other people can do that you may have been taking on as things that you had to do can be effectively given to others so they can have the blessing of doing those things. And you can have the blessing of being able to breathe and not be overwhelmed by life and all the various things that are stuffed into the shoebox of your life. And so thoroughly recommend the episode. So many gems were there. Those are the two main ones that stood out to me. We'll include the link to the episode below, and hopefully it is helpful to you as you journey deeper into a more restful, joyful way of life and living. Now for a gentle invitation to joy. Say yes to personal self-care boundaries. Take time to ponder, what could this look like for you? If you're so inclined, prayerfully ponder and ask God for His input and for His guidance in how to cultivate a life that is rich in self-care and that communicates to others the need for self-care so that they too can incorporate self-care practices and respect the self-care practices that you are trying to put in place. This may take some negotiation and some communication with others, yet the rewards for embarking on this journey are immeasurable. May you have a beautifully blessed time of it, and I look forward to hearing and seeing in the comments how it goes for you. Until next time, bye for now.